One of the silly things about this game is you can't change any of the settings from within the actual game. Let's crank up the graphics here, which actually closed the game completely. That's good. Alright, we're back. Let's see. What resolution is this? Okay, that's good. I think that should be as good as it's gonna get. So let's resume our little game. Hopefully you can hear me all right now. This is a deck builder game called Star Realms. I really enjoy deck builder games, and so hopefully I'll be playing them a lot on this channel. As well as sci-fi games, you'll probably see a lot of that as well. Reduce damage, destroy target base. So it doesn't look like I'm lucking out with anything really amazing here. And that's my turn. My strategy typically in these kinds of games is to make as much money, coin as possible early on to be able to buy the best ships possible in the lineup. So you'll see me typically go for anything that lets me increase my income quickly. And I also am a big fan of getting the red cards that let you pare down your deck, because that can be very helpful in keeping kind of a really focused way of doing things, such as the missile bot. Unfortunately, what ends up happening a lot of the times to me is that the AI finds a way to get some good cards early on, and then I'm kind of struggling the rest of the game. I also like to try to stick to as few colors as possible. I know some people get whatever the best color, like cards are for each color as they come up. There's synergies that come into play when you have a deck that's very focused. Can be a very helpful way to win the game. And I am not doing very good right now. It's always good to see the AI select the explorer ships, because those are really generic. They're not really powerful, they're not really helpful. You'll notice that I scrapped my combat ship, my starting combat ship, one of my Vipers. I don't find those to be as useful as some other ships in the deck, especially early on, though I am already kind of at a lower health than I would like to be. I guess we're getting some of our own explorers. It's not ideal. Oof. Discard 3 cards. That really limits my options to make big moves in the game anymore, because I don't have a way to effectively deal with everything that's happening here. I will get rid of the target base. And do my little bit of damage. And now he won't continually make me discard another card. He's already going to make me discard one. He's doing some decent damage. It's certainly not ideal. I got rid of the supply bot because I didn't have anything in my hand, or I had nothing in my discard pile, so it didn't really make sense to kind of go in that direction. The Ram is a strong damage ship, which is definitely not what I need right now, but we do what we have to. I'm actually now ahead in terms of damage. This will give me enough to deal with the fighter base. I can get this nice flagship. Do a couple extra damage. That was a pretty good turn for me. This is what I really don't like. This is why I get those red cards to be able to filter out and scrap other cards, because when you have turns that are just these basic scout cards, you can be very limited in what you can do in the game, and it lacks any kind of real synergy, so you don't get the effects that you need to be able to kind of chain and combo to be able to drill down the AI player very quickly. Always, if you have the ability, just like scrap the cards from your discard pile rather than your hand. And you can see there I kind of clicked to cancel the action because I really needed to check if I get 2 extra coin, I can get a ram, but nothing else. And so that's not really interesting to me. So I should actually go for the attack to do more damage at this point. And I can still scrap that scout. And again, I'm still leading in damage, but not by a lot. Ooh, this turn's gonna hurt. Command Ship is such a wonderful card. The draw 2 cards, the synergy for destroying a target base, it's just super powerful. And with that Stealth Needle that I just picked up, I can actually copy the Command Ship if I'm lucky, and like that can typically be kind of a game-winning move. Again, here I got some nice synergy. I got my Stealth Needle, so I'm going to go ahead and copy the Command Ship. And as you can see, this puts me in a game-winning position. Doesn't really matter what I select at this point. I can use the Command Ship to be able to get rid of that base, because why not? And I don't use any of my attack, and I can do my attack to win. So that's intermediate, or medium AI as they call it. The AI... The strategy that it seems to use is definitely that kind of fast combat or hard combat strategy, which means that if you can find ways to defend against it, you can actually, or heal, you can usually out-survive it and be able to destroy it. I haven't played too much against other people, but I found that, you know, as with any of these kinds of games, their strategies vary so wildly that it can be very difficult to pin down the best moves going forward. I typically play pass and play kind of games, or the onlines where it's asynchronous, right? So that we don't have to take turns or be online at the same time to be able to play. One of the downsides of Star Realms is all of the expansions that they put out. I own a fair bit of them, but they've released 2 more now with more cards and kind of more missions and things like that. I haven't done a lot of the campaign missions yet. The only advantage of playing those is that they give you some variety in the types of things that you can do. So typically it'll be that the AI has a certain advantage and you have a different advantage, and is it enough to kind of overwhelm your opponent? Will you be able to figure out the best way to do it? So that's pretty much what the campaigns are for. I think the AI games are a lot of fun. I haven't beat too many of the hard ones yet, and you can see that I disabled a lot of the different add-ons that I have. I find events and heroes are kind of lame. Events adds too much randomization to the game, to the point where it can really just crush any strategy you come up with. You know, you think you're winning, and next thing you know, you lose a bunch of health because your hand is empty, and you can't like sacrifice any cards to be able to avoid the effects of that event. So that can be really frustrating. And heroes, I find them just to be kind of lame. They're usually like a couple of coins in terms of cost. They provide like a one-time synergy so that you can activate the effects of some other cards. It's an interesting idea, but I don't think it's really enjoyable. And yeah, promos you can leave on or off. But I mean, the core set, gambits, bases, and fleets are really, in my opinion, where the fun is. And I'd be interested to know what these other expansions really add to the game. I think Colony Wars, with the amount of cards that it seems to add, would be a lot of fun to have. Yeah, and then the Cosmic Gambit adds 11 ships and bases. I love the ships and bases. I think the bases was a really smart way to go about providing a system of card usage that was unique, and it's one of the things that I've kind of worked into the game that I'm working on through supers, which are cards that'll be played like bases, so they won't continue to be in your rotation every time you play. They'll actually kind of stay out and have their effects be used every turn. So it almost gives you, like, you know, if you have 3 bases out and you draw 5 cards, you know, you really get to kind of have the effects of 8 cards because you get to use the synergies and you get to use the effects on those bases that you have down. And yeah, so I really like that concept, and I think it works really well. But that's going to do it for today. Thank you so much.